This is the third session of World Innovation Network of Intelligence Transformation, WINIT 2021 Symposia. And the theme of this session is National and Regional Case Study on Smart City Innovation. This session will give a broad knowledge on smart city cases from 4 continents: Asia, Latin America, Europe, and the United States. The first smart city case is from South Korea and will be presented by Mr. Jisoo Lee. Mr. Jisoo is a PhD candidate at Seoul National University, and his presentation today is case studies based on the Korean experience. Mr. Jisoo, the floor is yours.
Dear participants of WINIT, World Innovation Network of Intelligence Transformation 2021, my name is Jisoo Lee. I am a PhD candidate from Seoul National University in TMAP department and the BK21 Smart City Global Convergence program. My apologies on being on the video because of doing another project. It is my honor to present to you my topic on innovative smart city development, case studies based on the Korean experience. So let's begin the presentation. Here are my contents. I will first look at the historical view of smart cities in Korea, and then I will go over to the current smart city initiatives. Last, I will briefly explain on the plans for smart city development. So here's the first part of the historical view. As a prologue, the world is still under a difficult situation where the COVID-19 is still spreading. As of December 2021, we have the vaccination which is working, but the disease is still on its way of spreading. For the last 2 years, we learned that the system of tracking the infectors, COVID-19 patients, is very important. It is important that we have the working system where we can track the number, the location of infection that can be used for policy making and decide on the level of social distancing. Also, informing people on the status of COVID-19 proved to be a deterministic trust factor on governments. Governments should have the right tool for collecting the infection status and providing information to the citizens transparently, and also deal with privacy issues. In that sense, digital technology can be used against COVID-19. Telecommunications, internet availability is required, and data is generated and aggregated to deliver warnings on the disease. So smart cities frameworks also work in this way. That's why we need smart city systems. Historically, Korea started smart cities not in the term of smart city. In the 90s, there was the concept of digital city, which is mainly focused on building communications and networks. And from the early 2000s, the concept of U-city or ubiquitous city spread. Our Korean government accepted this and made into a national level initiative. The main characteristic of U-city was that it was more of a top-down approach, working with new towns and existing cities. But we had problems in that U-city development was decisive, one-directional, and narrowly focused towards increasing efficiency. So the current smart city initiative we see right now comes from these stages of learning. The construction stage, where we built the basics of smart city development, and the connecting stage focused on finding potentials on connected smart city services, and last, the enhancement stage, where the government is putting emphasis on innovation and smart city ecology. From a larger perspective, where we see the development of the city of Seoul, which is the capital city of South Korea, we can say that the both concept of U-city and smart city work on the sustainable city process. We focus on quality of life after the 2000s. So back then, U-city is defined to be a city where ubiquitous city services are provided through city infrastructure using city technologies. Similar to city development, many fields are included in this process, including administration, transportation, health, medical welfare, environment, anti-crime, and so on. They are designated to be of importance in improving the quality of life of citizens. Therefore, we can put it this way. U-City can be a Korean prototype of smart cities currently. The smart city concept evolved into a comprehensive urban management platform. This explains that our smart city development has been in quite a while, and we saw failure and learning during the process. Other development phases suggest that this is a progress of urban transformation. The current smart city is the next step of industrial city, modern city, and sustainable city. The benefits of smart city is on efficiency in urban management and improving quality of life and sustainable growth of cities. So next, we go to the current smart city initiatives in Korea. There are many smart city projects by local government in Korea, which is promoted by the Korean government, especially the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transportation. 78 local governments across the country have been secured as dedicated organizations for smart cities. Each is stepping up efforts to develop a smart city that fits its local characteristics. But we have to note that some are in small scale, which is on doing test beds and challenges on developing technology, but some are to be very large, almost to a pilot level of the whole city, where actual residents are deeply involved. I will explain more in detail. This year, 2021, the government has launched this year version of the Smart City Challenge, which is larger than last year. The challenge is categorized into city, town, campus, and solution. This is quite similar to the Smart City Challenge competition in the United States. And this is to develop and implement, test out, and give opportunity to prove the concept of smart city solutions across various ideas. On the larger scale, we have 4 local areas in Korea that is nationally strategic on smart city planning. Maybe we can say that these cities are on the frontier line of smart city development in Korea. There are 2 national pilot smart cities, including Saijong and Busan, and national strategic R&D cities, including Seoul and Daegu. So first, Saijong City is a newly formed city from the year 2012, working as the administrative center and in the center of Korea. And in one side of Saijong City, we have the pilot smart city focusing on 7 areas of innovation: mobility, governance, healthcare, culture, education, job, and energy. So data is collected from the city scale and reflected into decision-making process of city governance. Next, Busan National Pilot Smart City. We call the city Busan Eco Delta Smart City on the size of 75,000 residents. Areas focusing includes robot, live, work, play, city admin, water, education, healthcare, mobility, safety, and park. Smart city area is focused on approximately 10,000 people, and since the place is on the waterfront location, there are plans on being the smart water city. Unlike others, ideas are focused on solving the Busan area's city problem, maybe the industry finding the source of innovation growth. The other 2 cities, Seoul and Daegu, is primarily concentrated on doing R&D, which is also the place where a lot of investments are allocated. The National Strategic Project, which is on the scale of $130 million, they are divided into 3 phases: data hub technology, demonstration, and spread and expansion. This is surely a very large project where 90 plus organizations joined and more than 1,300 experts and participants joined. There are 3 cores for R&D. First is the smart city model-based technology, and second, the use case model, and third, the living lab model. They are interconnected with each other, and the center lies in the data hub and the data platform. Project 2, core 2 is on Daegu, transportation, safety, and Data Top and Admin. And Project 3, Core 3 is on SYMPOSIUM, Environment, Energy, Welfare, and Data Hub Technology. These projects are to develop and test new smart city technology and solutions. Not just from the public research institutions and universities, but also from the private sector. There are many companies joining. The public and the private work together to form consortiums and collaborations. Consortiums compete with each other, proposing new projects and producing meaningful results. Last is on the plan of smart city development. Our team at SNU have developed and proposed the master plan for Seoul Smart City, one of the national strategic R&D city. We focused on two questions. First, in terms of these areas, what is the current problem for Seoul City? And second, what will help the city transform into a smart city? And what are the new innovative industries promising technology for data-driven startup ecosystem? The area of Seoul is quite old, where industrial complexes, which is still working today, are focused on manufacturing. The problem of the complexes was that its industrial competitiveness is falling because they provide relatively outdated technology. We needed to propose high value-added industry structure for the future economic competitiveness of the city. So the two axes were on the quality of living and the economy and the industry. The problems of fragmented space, where Seoul had a lot of territory locked down to restriction for development. We know this as the green belt. So we collected opinions and ideas, problems that the residents had thought, and we organized it into categories. So we proposed the key values and the specific action plans for each key value. Also, from the analysis of the project of Smart City done in Korea, we categorized into 18 fields and matched and proposed 10 potential business plans. This is the map of the Seoul City, and we located where each proposed plan could be initiated. And also, for the 10 potential business models, our research team were able to identify the key 7 working environments. To wrap up, the vision of Smart City includes solving urban problems, pursuing sustainable growth, and promoting digital economic development. And in Korea, we have the vision of the Smart City being a platform to provide the quality of life of citizens and enhance the sustainability and fostering the new industries for the fourth industrial revolution. This is in alignment with other metropolitan cities such as the Seoul City. Platforms are provided to match these visions, and we are seeing better solutions every day, every year. Same goes for Saijong Smart City District and Busan Eco Delta City. So here in this symposium of WINIT, our SNU campus shares the vision of SNU Smart Singularity, being the global open campus on smart citizenship, where the smart people, students, citizens, scholars, entrepreneurs dream of the place where technology, wisdom, information, and knowledge thrive and integrate towards each other. So that was my final message for today's session. I hope you join into our journey of doing research for the smart city that we dream of. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you in real life. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jisoo Lee, for sharing smart city case studies of South Korea.
Next, we have Ms. Jisoo Ho with us. Ms. Jisoo is PhD candidate at Seoul National University. Her presentation on smart city innovation of the United States, the case of Chattanooga Smart Corridor. Ms. Jisoo, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, professors and everyone from SNU and KAIST who are joining this event today. It is a great pleasure to be here at the World Innovation Network of Intelligence Transformation 2021. My name is Jisoo, and I'm a PhD candidate in Technology Management, Economics, and Policy program at Seoul National University. My topic for today's presentation is how data can help municipalities become vibrant smart cities, the case of Chattanooga's Smart Corridor. Before I introduce the case of Chattanooga's Smart Corridor, I'll briefly introduce some of the key findings on smart cities. A recent study from Frost and Sullivan projects that smart cities will spend an estimated $327 billion by 2025 from only $96 billion in 2019. That could spur up to $2.5 trillion in business opportunities in the next 5 years with the right policies in time. The uncertain post-pandemic situation will compel smart cities to spend more on data-driven and connected infrastructure, which will lead to higher adoption of technologies like AI and big data. They will prioritize more digitalized services and a strong data analytics infrastructure, leading to increased spending toward technology. It is estimated that smart city spending on technology in the next 6 years is expected to grow at an annual growth rate of 22.7%. Technologies like artificial intelligence and big data will be in high demand to combat the pandemic, with growing opportunities for crowd analytics, open data dashboards, and online city services. There will be more than 26 smart cities by 2025, with 16 in North America and Europe. More than 70% of global smart city spending by 2030 will be from the United States, Western Europe, and China. Smart cities will be in the US. Smart cities in the US and Europe will continue spending on 5G and autonomous and robotic technologies. In addition, China has renewed investments in 5G, smart grids, AI, data centers, and other smart city-related technologies through the new infrastructure initiative initiated in 2018. Growing demand for crowd management and monitoring in smart cities will lead the crowd analytics market to grow by 20 to 25% by 2030, which had market revenues of about $750 million in 2020. Crowd analytics can be used to access collective real-time data. It can help ensure proper public healthcare services, traffic movement, and security and surveillance services across the smart city. Chattanooga has been selected as one of the 2 US cities in a new global initiative to pilot adoption of new technologies being developed by G20 Global Smart Cities Alliance. So the Smart Corridor, which spans just over 1.25 miles in downtown Chattanooga, as shown in the map here, is a testbed for research in smart city development and connected vehicles in a real-world environment. It also serves as a programmable and flexible wireless infrastructure for different applications. The wireless communication infrastructure and network of sensors in combination with data analytics provide a means of monitoring and controlling city services and infrastructure in real time. So the Center for Urban Informatics and Progress at the University of Tennessee and the City of Chattanooga, the Electric Power Board, and the private sectors are all involved in this effort. So in 2019, the CUIP first started the project using cameras and sensors such as LiDAR to test pedestrian safety conditions, traffic flow, and air quality elements. Then, thanks to the resources provided by utility supplier EPB, which made an early investment in fiber optic connectivity, Setting up the smart technology-enabled testbed only took a few months. So the FIBR, laid between 2008 and 2010 to help create an advanced smart grid to distribute electricity, serves as a backbone to support the project's physical infrastructure. Thanks to the CUIP, which have already added some cameras to detect the roadway elements, researchers have also been able to tap into cameras that the city previously installed. And the private sectors provide technologies such as LiDAR to collect real-time pedestrian and vehicle data. So thanks to the collaboration network between the university and the city government, they were able to set up the testbed quickly and relatively inexpensively by taking advantage of some of the previous efforts made by each stakeholder. What motivated the city and the university to develop this testbed? So basically, the increase in urbanization in combination with aging infrastructure have led to the rapid increase in research around the smart city concept. Due to rapid urbanization with increasing pedestrians, bicyclists, and scooter traffic, the number of traffic accidents has increased rapidly. And the city knew that it was time to take action towards Vision Zero goals. So this led to the establishment of the smart corridor. Initially, at the time of the project start, the smart corridor used several cameras to collect data and understand current vehicle and pedestrian movement patterns and to evaluate the performance of the city's infrastructure. This data would then be used to analyze near-miss incidents and inform safety measures, which are two critical components of Vision Zero. But the problem with the 2D cameras is that they're unable to provide accurate positioning of objects, which often led to calculation errors. Also, external light conditions negatively affected the detection accuracy of cameras. Their performance would deteriorate with shadow and low light. Considering that the majority of traffic accidents occur after dark, the researchers needed alternative sensing solutions that could reliably provide data throughout all hours of data. So this is why they started using high-resolution digital LiDAR sensors to develop near-miss and time-to-collision algorithms. LiDAR provides extremely accurate 3D representations of entire environments, including detection of vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists through varying lighting and weather conditions, like the video in the bottom right. This video shows one of the 8 intersections within the corridor. Distance between objects at centimeter level accuracy can be easily extracted, solving for the miscalculation problems they were experiencing with 2D-based computer vision. Using situational and weather data collected from other sources, researchers could predict accidents based on road users involved, time of day, and other external factors. With real-time data collected from real-world events, researchers are able to implement new technologies and safety measures that can be later scaled to other parts of the city. It is exciting to see so many different assets like sensors, fiber infrastructure, traffic hardware, AI, and pattern recognition software all work together to generate insights into traffic patterns and optimize investments and strategies around future transportation, improving safety, and environmental benefits. The smart corridor is being used to study various scenarios, such as being able to sense the location, velocity, and direction of pedestrians, bicyclists, and cars within the roadway. So if you look at the bottom right picture, the top graph shows the number of pedestrians, cars, and buses passing through each intersection, and the bottom graph shows the weather quality at each intersection. So this data will enable the city to develop applications that can alert drivers and pedestrians of a potential collision by understanding near misses like is it at certain times of day or all day, or what are the things that can be controlled. And by controlling traffic signals to direct emergency vehicles that, where they need to go faster using the technology and things like that. And to protect privacy, LiDAR never reveals any facial or personally identifiable information. All LiDAR data collected at the intersections is processed on the edge, and only anonymized metadata, such as object detection and classification, is stored. The connected vehicle research domain is a growing component of the effort. Standards for connected vehicles are constantly being updated due to the immaturity of the field. The testbed will be an optimal location for research for testing new technologies, and this project will become even more integrated with the city of Chattanooga. Emergency vehicle preemption, traffic signal optimization, and real-time dynamic routing are all potential challenges the collaboration can address. The further expansion of the testbed is a goal of the city. There are two other parallel corridors across Chattanooga that the city is interested in equipping with similar technologies. While EPB is city-owned, Chattanooga's work with external organizations like COIP isn't necessarily an unusual move in today's smart city, smart technology landscape. A number of cities are, in fact, partnering with universities, private enterprises, and other organizations to test and adopt smart technology. Small to mid-sized municipalities in particular may benefit from such relationships. They might not have the same array of companies they're looking to experiment in the space as large cities. However, with fewer factions involved, smaller cities may find that introducing smart technology can be a fairly collaborative and straightforward process. Yeah, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jisoo, for the insightful presentation.
Now we'll have a different smart city case, and we'll move to a European smart city case with Ms. Karolina Perjak. Ms. Karolina is an ITPP student at Seoul National University, and she will present today a smart city case in European Union. Ms. Karolina, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to present to you a topic of smart city projects in the European Union, covering the case study of sharing cities. So first of all, here is the table of contents outline of my presentation. In my presentation, I would like to first talk a little bit about the background of the topic, then the project's case study, its targets, and analysis of participating cities. So first of all, I will start with a little bit of background. As in Europe, the level of urbanization is above 75%, and the cities are consuming over 70% of energy and emitting as much of greenhouse gases. That's why, to tackle those challenges, European Union is implementing a process to define and fund smart city solutions for pursuing their sustainable development targets. Therefore, smart cities projects are implemented more widely in Europe. As smart cities require new, efficient, and user-friendly technologies and services, in particular in the areas of transportation, energy, and ICT, there are ongoing investment in research and innovation and developing policies about smart cities to achieve better quality of life for citizens, more competitive industries and SMEs, and more sustainable energy, transport, and ICT systems and infrastructures. Therefore, first of all, the European Union is dedicating specific funding instruments to implement smart cities. There's a complementarity among the EU budget funds as well as European Investment Bank instruments and private investments to allow the development of integrated projects in this area. Therefore, there are many ongoing projects within the region, and they can be divided into lighthouse projects, which are the activities that are partly financed by the EU H2020 funds, and also some other projects and activities which can be financed by other private and public funding to spread the smart cities solutions to other cities. So now I will move to the case study which I would like to share with you about the sharing cities. So Sharing Cities is a major international smart city project which seeks to develop affordable, integrated, commercial-scale smart city solutions with a high market potential. So it is addressing some of the major urban problems that are faced by many cities today, such as energy use, low carbon transport and buildings, harnessing data for the good of the city. This program brings together 34 partners from across government, industry, and academia to create solutions together. This is a lighthouse program which is providing a ground for a better common approach to making smart cities a reality. It is fostering international collaboration between industry and cities and seeks to develop a more integrated smart city solutions. So this project also partners a close cooperation with the European Innovation Partnership on Smart Cities and with other lighthouse projects. This framework is partly financed by the EU funds with 24 million euros from the funding, and it aims to trigger 500 million euros in private investment. With this project involves 6 European cities also. So here you can see the map of the areas that are taking part in this project. This project is divided into the lighthouse and the fellow cities. So the demonstration districts in the lighthouse cities of Lisbon, London, and Milan have implemented some replicable solutions and collaborative models, which there later on can be used as an example and replicated by the fellow cities. So the Sharing Cities has ambition to share the knowledge and experience of its lighthouse cities with other cities interested in this replication and scale-up. So the fellow cities of Bordeaux, Burgas, and Warsaw have been working in the partnership with the lighthouse ones on solutions that have strong potential to be implemented. So now we are moving on into the main targets of this project. So the Sharing Cities project has 4 main key objectives. First of all, it is to achieve a scale in European smart cities market by providing that properly designed smart city solutions based around common needs and can be integrated in complex urban environment. Secondly, it aims to adopt a digital-first approach which proves that extent to which ICT integration can improve and connect up existing infrastructure as well as design and run a new city infrastructure. Therefore, this would allow for the creation of new set of digital services which could help both the citizens and be beneficial for the governance and bring the energy efficiency, mobility, as well as bring about the ability to hit the main targets regarding mobility, housing, energy efficiency and resilience, and economic development. Next targets relates to accelerating the market to understanding, develop and trial business, investment and governance models. And this is essential for the aggregation and replication of smart city solutions in the cities of different sizes and different requirements. And finally, these projects aims to share and collaborate for the society. So it wants to respond to decreasing demand for participation of the communities in those municipalities. It wants to enhance mechanisms for citizens' engagement, to improve their local government's capacity in the case of policy making, delivering their services, working on collaboration and co-design, which would result in outcomes that are better both for the governance and for the citizens of those cities. So now we are moving on to the cases of the cities that are participating in this project. So as I mentioned, there are 6 cities, 3 of the lighthouse and the 3 fellow ones. So first one, it would be Milan, which is a part of the lighthouse cities. And Milan is an Italian city which since 2012 has developed and adapted a range of plans across the policy areas such as urban development, sustainable mobility, energy efficiency, sharing economy, and smart cities. So first of all, Milan considers the idea of smart city not as much into technology-driven, but more centered around their citizens. Therefore, the smart city for Milan covers smart mobility, smart environment, smart inclusion, and citizenship. That's why the district smart city development in Milan focuses on the co-design, which involves citizen engagement in co-developing innovative services which incentivizes positive behavior change. It's also focused on building retrofit, shared e-mobility, sustainable energy management service, urban sharing platform, and smart lamp posts. So now we are moving on to the replication strategy of this project. So as I mentioned, this project aims to introduce the solutions of the main cities, which can be easily replicated into the fellow ones. So here is the city profile of the fellow city of Warsaw. And in the case of Warsaw, it has been trying to introduce some smart solutions since 2011. However, their approach was more theoretical than the practical one. Therefore, the city took part in the workshops dedicated to replication and tried replicating some of the solutions into the governance of the city. Therefore, their replication strategy was focused on building e-mobility and retrofit, and therefore meetings with the main municipalities which have already introduced such solutions have been held. Also meetings with other departments and mentoring visits were conducted for this project. So this is here where I would like to conclude my presentation. And thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carolina, for sharing with us the European smart city cases.
Next, we will move to the South America with Mr. Heiner Camacho. Mr. Heiner is a specialized analyst, Banco de la República Colombia. His presentation on smart toward a smart Sustainable Smart City Development in Latin America. Mr. Heiner, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's a pleasure to be here sharing this space and this event with you and have the opportunity to raise my voice in order to promote some of the most important initiatives from Latin America and Caribbean related with the smart cities. One of the main facts that I want to highlight today is that Latin America and Caribbean doesn't have developed the smart cities in the complex context of the technology, but they are developing some projects that, even they are isolated, are the first steps in order to go in towards this kind of the new technology and new development in the world. Today, the content that we are going to handle is basically to mention some of the most important achievements in Latin America related with the International Index of Smart Cities. The second part, it will be the inclusive Latin America Internet Index, because I consider that the internet is the base of the smart certification. We are going to select just 3 cases to highlight the importance of the projects in Latin America, which is Santiago de Chile City, Buenos Aires from Argentina, and Medellin City from Colombia. The next step is going to talk about which is going to be the target of the smart cities or the projects of the smart cities in Latin America, and some recommendations and conclusions from this little research. Well, as all of you already know, smart cities is a very new concept, and this concept is already not coined definitely, and there is a lot of definitions in the world about the smart cities. For the purpose of Latin America, I select this definition, which is from the Inter-American Development Bank, which is a smart city is one that places people at the center of the development, incorporates information and communication technologies in urban management, and use these elements as tools to stimulate information for efficient government, which includes collaboration, planning process, and citizen participation. By promoting integrated and sustainable development, smart cities become more innovative and competitive, attractive and resilient, thus improving lives of the citizens and entrepreneurs. As you can notice, I highlight some words, because one of the principal cores for smart cities is that they are people-oriented, citizenship-oriented. That's one of the main purposes for the smart cities in Latin America. Okay, let's talk about a little bit the indicator. There are different indicators in the world that they mostly evaluate the cities based in these metrics, which are some dominion with some indicators that are the basis for evaluating the cities in the world. I'm showing in this 3 of the most common or widely implemented indicators in the world for evaluating the smart cities. And this is an evidence of the development of smart cities in Latin America. For the IMD, the first city, the first ranked city in Latin America is Buenos Aires, in the position 99. The second position is followed by Medellin, and the third city is Mexico City. In the second indicator, we have the case that Santiago de Chile is in the 88th position, Buenos Aires is in the 90th position, and Panama in the 113th position. In the last index that I pretended to show this afternoon, Santiago de Chile is the 77th position, Sao Paulo in the 78th position, and Mexico in the 79th. The discrepancies between indexes are related with which are the indicators that they evaluate more. In some cases, the indicators are people-centered, in another case are business-centered, in another case are technology-centered. Okay, as the Smart cities are people-centered, as I already stated. One important fact is to evaluate the indicators. I'm going to propose two small methodologies for this, which is infrastructure indicators and people-centered indicators. In this slide, we can see one of the first indicators is the distribution of the urban population in the world. Latin America is one of the most crowded areas in the world and with the most dense population, just surpassed by United States. So the most of the urbanization process is happening in Latin America. This is very important if we remember that the most of the population is intended to move from the countryside of the rural areas to the cities, which is a projection stated by the United Nations. A second indicator that I want to share with you is about the Readiness Index. So Latin America, even the development that has shown in the last years, is still remaining in a big gap compared with developed countries as North America or European or Asia countries. So this readiness is affected because there is some technology that is very well accepted, as is internet, or mobile devices, or computer equipments, but there are another kind of technology that doesn't have a very well acceptance, like artificial intelligence, big data, and also Internet of Things. Another indicator very important in terms of smart certification is the traffic. And this is very important in Latin America because one of the biggest issues that affects the cities in Latin America in terms of efficiency, in terms of human quality, also in terms of quality of the environment, is the traffic. In this graphic, we can see that Bogota ranks in the very first positions in the worst traffic in the world, also followed by Lima and other cities from Latin America as Rio de Janeiro, Santiago de Chile, and Mexico City are ranked in the first position of the worst traffic congestions in the world. This indicates that the infrastructure of the cities requires a big intervention from the governments to improve it and also for respond to the demand, and also to implement massive transportation system that respond to the demand of the population. Another indicator is the access to the electricity. It's very surprising that in Latin America, some cities in the year 2050, they didn't have access to the electricity, which is a basic service. The internet penetration in Latin America is not so bad, but also have a lot of resistance to the new technologies. And this is evidence because the most internet is provided by a private sector, and there is not too much regulation by the government. Okay, let's talk now about the human indicators. One of the biggest problem of Latin America is the inequality and the share of the living multidimensional poverty. So there is a lot of poverty in Latin America. And also, Latin America is well known by the high levels of corruption, which affects the smart city projects or any kind of projects because they didn't succeed in the long term or even in the middle term. The low income in Latin America is also one of the problems that leads to different kind of social riots that the people manifest that the insatisfaction with the governments according how they are developing the social policies. And a last issue related with the people-centered indicators is the gender inequality. Latin America remains as one of the areas in the world where exists more gender inequality. So the discrimination against the rights of the woman and other minorities is still like one of the priorities in the future. Let me show this. Oh, okay. Okay, all these indicators leads to one important fact, and is that Latin America is one of the most violent areas in the world. It's not just because the indicators that are already present, but also because there is a long tradition from dictatorial governments that happened in the last century, and the region is in a period of transition between these dictatorial governments to the new democracy. So violence is one of the biggest barriers that present Latin America in the future. I'm going to present the Inclusive Internet Index, which demonstrates how Latin America is adopting the technology in the perspective of the internet. So here we can see that the smart cities that I already mentioned in the indicators are leading in these indicators, which is the availability, affordability, relevance, and readiness for the adoption of the Internet Index. Here we can also determine that the usage quality and infrastructure is led by countries like Chile, but also some Caribbean countries like Trinidad, Tobago, and Costa Rica are in part of in the top of this index. I'm going to skip this because of the time. Okay, so as I already said, Latin America doesn't have smart cities. This is a sentence from Sergio Arredondo from the municipal government of Mexico, which accepts that indeed nowadays Latin America doesn't have smart cities, and the most of the responsibility because it doesn't exist smart cities is because the lack of a commitment in the governments, the excess of corruption in the governments, and there is not an appropriate private partnership to develop these long-term projects. I select 3 cases, which is the Ciudad of Santiago de Chile, Buenos Aires, and Medellin, which have mostly the same pattern, where they behave with the same adoption of technologies that I'm showing in these graphics, and also they are developing almost the same infrastructure, but they are isolated projects. One of the most important projects that are developed in Latin America is the integrated transport system, which is composed by a metro system, a cable car system, as you are watching in the picture, and also bus system and another means of transportation. This is the same case for Buenos Aires City. And also, one of the principal projects that are developed in Latin America is the Regeneration Projects. So it's taking areas that were abandoned or lived in some kind of level of destruction, and they rebuild with new purposes as living labs or smart city labs. So this is one case in Buenos Aires where they took some peers and they developed a small project in order to create test beds for startups. This is the case of Colombia, where we can compare the same indicators. In the case of Medellin, this is a very disruptive city because they focus in the people more than in the technology. And Medellin is one of the most relevant cases because it was one of the most violent cities in the world that was affected by the problem of guerrilla, the problem of the drugs traffic, and nowadays is one of the cities most disrupted in the implementation of smart technologies for facilitate the quality of life of people. There are some prominent examples that I'm going to show you. This is the complete rank of the smart cities in the world from Latin America. So you can compare the position. The next city is Bogota, Rosario, Argentina, Rio de Janeiro, but no one of them are in the 101st positions. Up to date, there were a lot of projects in Latin America that intend to develop some models of smart cities. But some of these projects were abandoned because the lack of engagement of the government, and also because the public partnership is quite different and have a different infrastructure where the most of the investment must be warranted by the government. So why the smart cities in Latin America is still in the first position, in the first 100 position, is because there is a big investment from the private industry in the startups. The startup is the technology that are ranking these cities as smart cities. So we have the case of, as we talk about Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico. And these startups are very focused in the fintech technology. So startups and technologies are very good driver for leading to the cities to the smart cityfication, because also implement the high talent that the countries need, and also the development of new technologies as is the application. So one of the most profitable market in Latin America nowadays is the development of apps. Here are some conclusions, but I run off of the time. Sorry for this, finish this presentation like this. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Heiner, for your informative presentation.
Our last presenter for this session is Ms. Yuri Olivia. Ms. Yuri is the head of Planning, Cooperation, Coordination Division, Ministry of Administrative and Bureaucratic Reforms of Indonesia. Her presentation today is Indonesia New Capital, Hope and Dream for a Better Life. Ms. Yuri, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a very great honor to me to give my presentation today in front of all you. My presentation today is about the Indonesia New Capital, Hope and Dream of a Better Life. My presentation content, it will be separated into 3 parts. First part is background, then the second part is Saijong as benchmarking city, and the last one is Indonesia New Capital Roadmap. This is about the background of my presentation. We will move. Yes, we will move. As you know that Indonesia capital is in Jakarta, where is the Jakarta is most of the populated city in Indonesia. Jakarta located in Java Island. You can imagine from 270,000 million people who live in Indonesia. Most of 57% people live in Jakarta. So we have a big problem in Jakarta. We like Jakarta because everything there, but this not suitable anymore. There is no quality of life where every day we face the traffic, congested, the air pollution, and also the garbage. So many problems in Jakarta, and then cannot solve by enhance the city. So we will find another city to as our new capital. So we plan to move to the new city because we want also the welfare of the Indonesian cities go beyond, not only concentrate in Jakarta. Then, based on my research, it will be focused to the smart mobility. Why? Because our new capital is located in Borneo Islands. It's like we are built our city from the scratch or from the zero. It's been the key core value, it must be smart mobility because there is nothing there. So we cannot concentrate to the other smart dimension like smart economy, smart welfare, smart living, smart governance. So we will start with the smart mobility. And then this is the second part, Saijong as benchmark city. Why Saijong as a benchmark city? I think because learning from the best will help developing country like Indonesia expand and create a clear idea about their smart city because we have a limitation of knowledge, human resources, experience, and also financial or budget. Benchmarking for developing country can be a very good way to learn. And as like Jisoo mentioned before, Korea is one as a smart city pioneer. So we know that smart cities were implemented in Korea in the early 2000s. This is an ambitious plan to make urban management more efficient through information and communication technology. First stage of smart city project in Korea is between 2003 and 2013, known as the construction stage, which involves building smart city infrastructure and operating smart services. During this period, in 2008, the age of contraction, UCT, was enacted. The second stage is the connectivity stage, implemented between 2014 and 2016. The focus was connecting smart city and building governance structure. The third stage is enhancement stage, the stage plan for the period from 2017 to 2020. It focused on innovating smart city and creating a smart city, creating in city ecology. This, based on the roadmap from Korea, the smart city expected result is about the walkability cities and the environment and city that city for a health and happy life. This the Saijong City. So Saijong City construct or divide the focus for 6 area to development, and it also will the same with the Indonesian. So, and from the literature review and then from the roadmap that I saw from the, that I learned from the Saijong roadmap, they divide the problems from the unique of the Saijong itself and the Korean smart city around the Korea. Now they make the philosophy of the smart city in Saijong, where the city is a sustainable platform that enhances resident happiness and provide creative opportunity with 3 key values. One is happy resident, sustainable city, and the creative opportunities. Saijong 5.1 is a new roadmap, consists with the 7 innovator factors. It consists with mobility, healthcare, education and jobs, energy and environment, governance, culture and shopping, living and safety. From the 7 innovative factors, they focus with 4 key values. This for the convenient mobility, personalized education environment, personalized medical service, and then performance demanded by residents. So it will be more concentrated to how improve the quality of life of the citizen itself. This is the roadmap of the mobility service for the new plan of the Saijong City. It will be focused to the closed smart personal mobility sharing service, self-driving shuttle for demand within circulation ring, integrated mobility service, private parking lot, and smart signal control service. And what the big issues and lessons learned? This from one of the research, they make a critical review of the Saijong Smart City Plan. So even we know that Korea, with the high technology, full with the, they have more the ability compare the developing country. Still, the issues below is arises. One is about the financial feasibility. Is it value for money? So from this research, so many things we can learn as developing countries. So we can more careful to make our own plate and our plane. Even Korea itself still raise the question about the financial feasibility, excessive and extremely reliance on ICT. And then also the questions about the smart city only for the smart people, because focus to the technology can make a digital divide among the citizen itself. So from Indonesia, it will be a good opportunity to learn from the critical review of Saijong Smart City itself. This also one of the other literature review that find that when we create a new city, so we want people move to the new mobility, they use the public transportation. But in the fact, still in Saijong, most of the people using the private car during their mobility. So it can be also happen in the new capital of Indonesia. It also can be a good learning system for us. Then now let's see about the Indonesia New Capital Roadmap. This is the roadmap that we create till this day. Still not finalized, but it's the big picture of the roadmap of the new capital of Indonesia. So we put that new capital as our national identity when we say that's living with nature. So we also focus about the sustainable, smart, green, and beautiful city, modern and based on international standard, good governance, and encourage economic equity in the eastern region. So our new capital, it will be focused also toward the walkability, green space, carbon, zero carbon emission, and also infrastructure. And the new capital, it's also the new government official era. So most of government officials are the people who will move the first to the new capital. Like or doesn't like, government do not have any choice. We will transform many things from our working. So also from the building, we will use a sharing office. Then also that Korea already implemented this before. But for Indonesia, it will be the new era for the government official. There is no own space anymore. So you will collaborate. I hope it can be reduce the silo when we work together. And also for the working hours, it will be more flexible. We learn a lot actually from the case of the COVID, when most of the government officials also work from home. This is the number, the planned number actually, the movement of the new government. So at the end, in 2024, around 11,000 government officials will move to the new capital. This is about the vision of our roadmap. So we also divide the new capital roadmap like Saijong City. We divide into area and focus for each area. This, the new capital, we have like the vision is just like locally integrated, globally connected, and universally inspired. Yes, it's still a big picture and big word for us because move to the new capital is not a simple work. So it maybe take more than 10 years, 20 years to move and to realize and our dream to become one new place as the new hope, the quality of life city where we can feel more happy and life in the new place. But it's still a long journey. That's why we can learn from the Saijong. So Saijong is just like step by step, and also Indonesia can learn from the step and the trial and error that they did. So we learn from them, whereas because Saijong itself is not the perfect smart city. It's not just like already smart city there, but because of that, for Indonesia is very good way to learn from Saijong. This the roadmap implementation scenario. So still from 2020 to 2024, we still focus to infrastructure stage because we do not have anything in the new capital. So we more focus how to build the infrastructure. Even all the roadmap during this until 2024, it will be focused to urban development, infrastructure development, economic development, financial scenario, and governance for the basic way. So because we still need to work in infrastructure. I think that's all from my presentation, and these are the references that I used in my presentation. Thank you for listening.